श्रीगुरुवैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Shayan, so then the younger will follow him. So I request all of you, please chant verse slowly, then we can follow you.
Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 text 7. Karpanya doshopatha svabhava prichami tvam dharma samudacheta yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. Doshopatha svabhava
Doshopatha svabhava
Prichami tvam dharma samudacheta
Pichami tam samudachetaha
Yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me
Jashriyastam bruhitam me
Shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam.
Shishtastham sadhimam papannam.
Now I am confused about my duty, and I have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Purport. By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear, without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life, and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. Who is the man in material perplexities? It is he who does not understand the problems of life. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 3.8.10, the perplexed man is described as follows. Yova etat aksharam gargi avidit vashmal lokat preti sakripana. He is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human, and who thus quits this world like the cats and dogs, without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is the most valuable asset for the living entity, who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is the Brahmana, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize this body to solve all the problems of life. Ya etat aksharam gargi vitit vashmal lokat preti sabrahma. The Kripanas, or miserly persons, waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc., and the material conception of life. One is often attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members, on the basis of skin disease, The Kripana thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the Kripana thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals, who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the cause of his perplexities. Although he could understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still, on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the Supreme Spiritual Master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks. Talks between the master and disciple are very serious, and now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. How Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated in the Gita itself. And yet, foolish mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna's within and without, and one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. He is telling Krishna that he is confused as to what his duties are, and he is surrendering to Krishna and requesting Krishna to give him instructions. Even though Arjuna understood that it was his duty to fight in the war, he was still, due to his attachment towards his friends, relatives, and family, he was confused and he was unsure of what was the right thing for him to do in that situation. So what he did was he surrendered to Krishna and he asked Krishna to rid him of his confusion. So in our own lives, we often become confused and we're unsure of what our duty is. Since we're attached to our family, society, or our country, we become confused and we become perplexed and we're unsure of what to do. When this happens, we have to surrender to Krishna or to a bona fide spiritual master and ask for instruction as Arjuna asked Krishna. So, and by asking a bona fide spiritual master, they can guide us through our material perplexities and show us the proper way to fulfill our real duties, which is going back to Krishna.
Gita, chapter 4, text 9. Janma karma jane divyam evam yoge titatpataha takta deham punar janma naiti mamiti sorjuna. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoge titatpataha
Ema vedeti tattataha
takta deham punar janma
tattadhyata punarjanama
naiti mamiti sorjuna.
naiti mamiti sarjuna.
Translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and my activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Purport. The Lord's descent from his transcendental abode is already explained in the 6th verse. One who can understand the true appearance of the personality of Godhead is already liberated from material bondage, and therefore he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present material body. Such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti of the Lord, is only impartial, and there is a risk of returning to this material world. But the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the body and activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord after entering this body and does not run into the risk of returning again in this material world. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord has many forms and incarnations. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, there is still one and the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to understand this with conviction. Although it's incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empiric philosophers. As stated in the Vedas, Eko Devo Nitya Lila Nurakto Bhakta Vyapi Hridi Antaratma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternally engaged in many, many transcendental forms in relationships with his unalloyed devotees. This Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita, personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength and the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who does not waste his time in philosophical speculations, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. Simply by accepting this truth on faith, one can, without a doubt, attain liberation. The Vedic version, Tattvamasi, it is actually applied into this case. Anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be the Supreme, or says unto the Lord, "You are the same Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead," is certainly liberated instantly, and consequently, his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion. Tam eva viditatma tumeti nanya pantha vidyate ananyaya. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no alternative, because anyone who does not understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is surely in the mode of ignorance. Consequently, he will not attain salvation, simply, so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of honey, or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important roles in the material world, but they're not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the causeless mercy of the devotee of the Lord. One should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge. In this way can attain perfection. After reading this verse in the Bhagavad Gita, I understood that the most important thing in a devotee's life is understanding and knowing Krishna. Simply by knowing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we could attain liberation. There are many impersonalists and yogis in the material world